want to show this hat here. That's for you, Miss Potts. Like that, like that, like that. All right, guys, welcome to Truth and Transparency. How we feeling? Sunday, I told you guys I was going to be with you all day, working on different things. Going to show you guys really quick. Investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University campus located in Pullman, Washington. A review of that video indicated that at approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of the white Elantra, known as suspect vehicle 1, was observed, which was consistent. Okay, ready? Officer Hill, what do you got? Officer Hill. Through the course of this video review, clips showing vehicles matching the description of vehicle 1, which were seen on the WSU surveillance cameras located along Stadium Way in Pullman, Washington, were collected from the live camera system by Hill. These clips were turned over to the Moscow Police Department for storage. Agent note: surveillance review on the WSU camera system was conducted using a live view system. Due to the functionality of the system, only small clips were able to be extracted and maintained. Special Agent Hill reviewed the WSU cameras between approximately 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, and collected the clips which showed vehicles matching the description of vehicle 1. These sightings are noted above. No other sightings of vehicles matching this description were observed. Investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University campus located in Pullman, Washington. Probable cause for the arrest of Brian Kohlberger. In the probable cause affidavit to arrest this man, a review of that video indicated that at approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of the white Elantra, known as suspect vehicle 1, was observed on WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street on Northeast Stadium Way. Don't fuck with me, man. Don't fuck with me. $2:44 a.m. You know what that means? Wait. But I thought you said that there wasn't. There's no 2:44. There's no 2:44 sighting in here. In fact, oh. If there was, remember, why are you starting at 3:26 in 10 seconds? Again, I'm not even going to make you think. I'm not even going to make you think. This is the probable cause for the arrest of this man. Okay? And they are saying in the probable cause to arrest man, there is not, I thought Brian didn't leave his apartment until this time. No. Please look. This is what you arrested this man off of these words, which were, you were reviewing the camera footage, which had, and during reviewing this camera footage at 2:44 a.m., you saw this. Now, actually in Special Agent Hill's report, okay, he specifically says that there was no, that this was not there. Okay, this was not there because he reviewed from 2 to 6 a.m. and from 2 to 6 a.m. this isn't there. There is no car there. There is no vehicle that matches the description of the suspect vehicle at 2:44 a.m. It doesn't matter where we think that he was or he wasn't. What this matters is about lies versus truth. Lies versus truth. Okay? So it doesn't matter where we think anybody was. This man writes up a report. Okay? He did not obviously author the probable cause. Okay? And in his report, the last page before he gets into his descriptions of maps and shit, he says, the last page, through the course of this video review, so through the course of his video review, okay, clips showing vehicles matching the description of vehicle 1, which were seen on the WSU surveillance cameras located along Stadium Way, which I just showed you guys from the probable cause. That camera, Stadium Way, Nevada, they were collected from the live camera system by Special Agent Hill. This is the first time that he talks about him physically being the one to collect anything. Okay. These clips were turned over to the Moscow Police Department for storage. Agent note: surveillance review on the WSU camera system was conducted using a live view system. Due to the functionality of the system, only small clips were able to be extracted and maintained. Special Agent Hill reviewed the WSU cameras between approximately 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. on November 13, 2022, and collected clips which showed vehicles matching the description of vehicle 1. These sightings are noted above. Everything that the clips that he grabbed and that he did, he is basically saying right here, it's like a, what do you want to call it? It's like a disclaimer. He knows that the PCA, he's writing this obviously after the PCA has been produced, okay? He's basically coming out and telling the world that he had nothing to do with that PCA. Is that right? Because he wants the world to know that during 2 a.m. and 6 a.m., which 2:44 a.m. would fall in between that, okay? In his report, there is no 2:44 a.m. sighting. Did you guys hear that? There is no 2:44 a.m. sighting. He never saw a vehicle at 2:44 a.m. He didn't see any vehicle between 2 and 3 a.m. in Pullman that matched the suspect's vehicle. I went back to view one more time Judge Hippler's order on who can testify to so let's go right here. This is Judge Hippler's order. Okay. Right here. After oral arguments were heard on the motion, which was held April 9th, 2025, after which the court took the matter under advisement, the court finds that the state may present expert opinion that the vehicle depicted in the videos are the same vehicle as suspect vehicle 1, as well as the make and model thereof. Nobody is going to be testifying that is not labeled an expert witness to any of this. So Brian Culber did not get a loss on this. In fact, I'm making it known right here, this won't be able to happen. Because who determined that it was a suspect vehicle in the first place? I wanted to change the title of the live to something to do with the domino effect. You take out one domino, you're fucked. You hit the first domino and everything has to be in order and lined up perfectly so that the rest will fall. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to have a huge problem when you try to play dominoes like that and you hit a domino over. Okay. So it is important to understand that Special Agent Hill did not find a vehicle matching the description of vehicle 1 in the Pullman area between 2 and 3 at all. Like, at all. Hence, but now hold on. So who decided and wrote this portion of the probable cause affidavit for the arrest of Brian Culber when they said investigators were given access to video footage on the WSU campus located in Pullman? A review of that video indicated that at approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as suspect vehicle 1, was observed on WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. At approximately 2:53 a.m., a white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as suspect vehicle 1, was observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman, Washington toward State Route 270. Ready for this? Ready? Going back to what Special Agent Hill is making known in his report. This is at the end. This is at 1:04 and 16 seconds after he just writes down, everything up to that point. And everything that he's writing down in this report is just any vehicles, whatever he was given, and he went through then, any vehicles that match the description of suspect vehicle 1, which he had nothing to do, and this is suspect vehicle 1, which was 3 of 7 different options, and they went with this. Okay. That's what that page is, right? So he didn't determine this. He is going off of other people's work, but with the camera footage that he was given, he has to make it known to us, to the courts. He's writing up a report and he's making it known. Here's my disclaimer. And this is just huge. This is absolutely huge. He wants us to know that through the course, a summary. A vehicle matching the description of vehicle 1 drives south towards the parking lot, exit to the bridge, and that's like period end to that transaction right there. Then, through the course of this video review, okay, remember the date of when it was started to be drafted? And when it was finished. Okay, so the draft starts here, and then it was finished and entered here. Okay, this would have been after Brian Culver was arrested, right? Through the course of this video review, clips showing vehicles matching the description of vehicle 1. Notice how he doesn't use suspect vehicle. Vehicle 1, he uses suspect vehicle 1 time, and it's on the first page, second paragraph. And it was due to other factors, not just watching surveillance. There's other circumstances by other people and other investigators in this case that's how they determined that this was the suspect vehicle. So he's reviewing things. And so it says, through the course of this video review, clips showing vehicles matching the description of vehicle 1, which were seen on the WSU surveillance cameras located along Stadium Way in Pullman, Washington, were collected from the live camera system by Special Agent Hill. So the only thing that he did is he was in Washington and he actually went and collected them. However he did that. Buck, maybe he even did it remotely from like a live feed almost, it sounds like, and he's taking his own clips. Okay. These clips were turned over to the Moscow Police Department for storage. When? But off of his clips, this is what he did. Agent note, surveillance review of the WSU camera system was conducted using a live video or a live view system. Due to the functionality of the system, only small clips were able to be extracted and maintained. Special Agent Hill reviewed the WSU cameras between approximately 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. on November 13, 2022, and collected clips. So when he was doing this live, okay, now this is where I struggle to see if you're in the capacity that you are with being an FBI agent, and you would see like, oh wait, why don't we just put a camera on us doing this and we're recording everything that we're doing so that it's going to salvage all of this just in case shit gets whack here. Like, let's get a camera on us right now. And that would also help us. That's like a backup, because something's up with this. Like, what do you mean we have to do this from a live feed? Like, well, here, let's record what we're doing. Okay. So they didn't clearly do that, but this man did sit down between 2 and 6 a.m. or whenever time he did sit down. He's looking at stuff between 2 in the morning and 6 a.m. Of which, if he's the one that was doing this from jump and involved in it from jump, how could the probable cause affidavit reflect that there was ever, if he was taking the clips and then providing them then to Moscow Police Department, right, for storage, because that's the process, and somebody's gonna have to sign them out, and make a working copy of them so they can go ahead and start producing things, reports, what they're working on, whatever it may be. But it's this man's review and clips from 2 to 6 a.m. that do not ever say or provide that at 2:44 and 2:53, none of this is there. This is equivalent to, I mean, I don't even want to say it's equivalent to it because it's way worse. This is like if Karen Reed, somebody lied and said there was ring footage showing Karen Reed driving away after a thud hit her vehicle because there's ring camera footage, and then there's a library camera footage and all this shit, and then that's what they used to arrest her and blah blah blah, and then comes out that none of that existed. Like, there is no footage. Like, this footage doesn't exist according to Special Agent Hill. Who did this portion of the PCA? Because according to Special Agent Hill, like, this is the guy that's the expert. This is the guy that and he worked on this after the arrest of Brian Kohlberger, which means the video, like, after the arrest of Brian Kohlberger, that's when this began to type this up, and it was entered on 5/1. And he specifically says right here that Special Agent Hill reviewed the WSU cameras between approximately 2 and 6 a.m. on November 13th and collected clips which showed vehicles matching the description of Vehicle 1. These sightings are noted above. No other sightings of vehicles matching this description were observed. I mean, to put this last sentence in there, this double downing and saying FUMPD. And if nobody believes me on that, wait for it. People ain't losing their jobs over this. People ain't fucking losing their careers over this. Not only did they make up in the PCA and hide the handoffs, they made up this whole fucking paragraph. Because this doesn't exist. Do you understand that at trial, this doesn't exist? So if you guys watched my last episode and I said a car just doesn't plop down in the middle of the street and it's like, that's the car and that's Brian's car. Just whoop, voila. When you want to talk about lying to arrest somebody, I don't know if Brian Kohlberger is innocent. I don't know if he's guilty, but I know that you are presumed innocent until proven guilty. That's what I do know. That's our rights, and I will protect our rights. But this is insanity. This is insane. Then you go to want to talk about the dominoes of the case, right? Because there's all these things that they say, which is important because this is why he puts his shit a certain way. And he wants it known here. Through the course of this investigation, investigators performed an extensive canvass of Moscow, Idaho, and the surrounding areas to include Pullman, Washington, Clarkson, Lewiston, for video surveillance, which may have been relevant to this investigation. The surveillance which was collected was reviewed by Special Agent Hill in conjunction with other investigative leads in an attempt to identify and locate a suspect and or a suspect vehicle. All the dates of when they started doing stuff is going to be so crucial. Through this surveillance review, which is outlined in this report, and a review of other investigative leads, that's how a suspect vehicle was identified. Because, and what this is where your dominoes are, this is where your dominoes lie, okay? And if the foundation is shit, we got some problems, okay? And so here's where this is, your investigative leads, interview of the roommates, okay, and what they would have said, okay? Then using the 911 call, obviously you have the time of the 911 call, which is not good. It's 11:58 in the morning, 11:56. The info that was provided on the 911 call, mentioning the 4 a.m., okay? Then they used not the phones of the victims, but the phones of the survivors, and they used the text messages and calls, which is this report that I made, okay? They don't mention any apps that they would have used of the survivors, aka health data, nothing like that. They don't mention the phones of the victims, and then the phone of the DoorDash driver / anybody else that would have been over there in that area. So it's very simple, which is, if the time of the crime is not the time of the crime, none of this matters. That's the domino that, so go to Hippler's order. Well, actually, I want to back up. And I want you guys to think about how the prosecutor is planning on selling this to everybody. Ann Taylor had an issue, and she's like, I don't want them referring to the vehicle as a suspect vehicle. It would be speculative because there's no continuous footage. Like, you're saying that every sighting is the same car, and that's speculation. Okay. In the state, their argument is like, basically it was like Ann Taylor wants the jury to decide if that's it or not, like not allow, because I'm going to object, she's saying, to questions that are asked if it calls for speculation. And I think Ann Taylor's going to be fine because, like, this guy, for example, he didn't identify the car. The 4:20:42 video, that's the suspect vehicle, period. Based off of Dylan and Bethany. It's that car speeding away. But for you to go ahead and say that that car speeding away is the 406 car, that's speculation. And nowhere in your report do you state that it's your expert opinion that the 420 car in 42 seconds is the suspect vehicle, and it matches, and it is vehicle 401 and 50 some seconds over there on Ridge. They're getting, the state's getting all in the minutia, in my personal opinion, that they're focused on the 401 and the 406 sighting. But how are you saying that the 420 car speeding away is the car that got there at 406? So, and if you actually look at Ashley Jennings now, so when you actually go back and look at some of the shit that they've put out, Ashley Jennings says that this is what the facts are. She says the facts are that on November 13, 2022, Moscow Police Department responded to 1122 King Road, Payne affidavit. So she's everything that she would ever type up, it was always referring to this affidavit. And so when someone tries to sit here and say like that affidavit doesn't mean shit, there's all this other stuff. No, actually, the state, Ashley Jennings, every time that she has to write up anything, she's always referring to that affidavit like it's the fucking Bible. And it's just not. Attached as State's Exhibit S1, investigators found four dead deceased individuals who died from apparent stab wounds. Again, ID, that's using the affidavit. Investigators canvassed the crime scene area for surveillance footage to identify the person responsible for the homicides. Again, citing the affidavit. A surviving roommate. Now, see how they go right to this? A surviving roommate, DM, reported to law enforcement she was woken up around 4 a.m. by noises. A surviving roommate, DM, reported to law enforcement she was woken up around 4 a.m. by noises. Well, she was up at 3:51 on her phone saving contacts. So she somehow went to bed between 3:51 and 4 and then was awoken at 4. Investigators were able to obtain surveillance footage from 1112 King Road, a residence immediately to the northwest of the house. That video surveillance picked up audio. So then here's the domino. The next domino is the audio of voices or whimpers followed by a loud thud. In addition, a dog can be heard barking starting at 4:17 a.m. DM reported around this time she saw an unknown male in the residence walking toward the rear exit of the residence. Well, we have DM's text messages, okay? And we now know that Bethany actually called her first. Then after the dog barking, we have the 1112. So again, do you guys see how it says ID after all this? So Ashley Jennings is citing the probable cause affidavit, which is so old, knowing that the probable cause affidavit isn't accurate. She's still needing to use it. This motion brief was written years after that probable cause affidavit. But she's using it and citing it like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Next, the 1112 King Road video shows a white sedan entering the crime scene at 4:04. Entering the crime scene area at 4:04 a.m. This is your huge big domino piece to me. Okay. Your huge big domino piece. There was a car that entered at 401. There was a car that entered at 356. There was a car that entered, there was people that were walking around there. There's houses all around there. But video shows a white sedan entering the crime scene area at 4:04 a.m. This same white sedan, in no report do they ever say that anything's the same. No expert report that I've went through saying that those vehicles are all the same vehicle, for the record. Okay. Again, though, she has to go to the probable cause. She's saying that this same white sedan is seen departing the crime scene. That is your opinion. Same. Area at 4:20 a.m. at a high rate of speed. And so that's where I'm putting this huge domino, which is your 4:20 a.m. vehicle. That's your suspect vehicle. This other shit, it doesn't matter. This is the vehicle that matters, that you want to be talking about what's speeding away at this time, but it matters because of what now? Because of a thud at 4:17 and because of DM and Bethany's text messages and because of what they said. And that's it. So all of those things, those ands, all have to be accurate, right? But, or you can say, and they waited till 11:58, 11:56 to call 911. And they were on social media, and they deleted things, and they did it, and. But according to the state, this is their they never identified this car. The 420 car has never been identified, for the record. And that's why Ann Taylor is saying, this is like, they're saying that the 406 car is also the 401, and then that's just the car that's leaving at that time. It has to be. Why? And it has to go and drive all over, but you don't have it on any camera leaving anywhere else. Nothing. It just disappears. Normally that means it like disappears into a driveway and goes into a garage and shut off. And how could that car possibly, with hardly any traffic out there on that type of a night at 4 a.m., 4:30, make it out of that area? That's why Ann Taylor wanted to know, where are the cameras for these establishments that are surrounding being able to leave the town of Moscow from the two different ends? Based on this information, investigators focused on identifying the make and model of that white sedan. That's what, seen on 1112 King Road. The suspect vehicle is seen on the 112 King Road surveillance prior to the homicides. And then she brings up that, again, then she's saying, okay, again, they're saying that that's the same, the vehicle that left at 420 is the same vehicle at 3:30, 3:33, 3:38, 3:40, 3:56, 3:58, and at 4:04. And guess what? There is no report by an expert that says that it's their expert opinion that all of those vehicles are the same. And the only person that's allowed to testify according to Hippler's order is an expert. And if you actually read Immel's report, it doesn't say, my expert opinion after reviewing all of these, that I believe that they're all the same. It's not in there. It's not in there at all. In fact, it was never asked to be done. Video surveillance capturing the suspect vehicle was collected at additional places near the crime scene prior to the homicides. And then she talks about, these sightings. And then she goes right here to FBI report of Special Agent S.A. Rob Hill, pages 1 through 10. She's attaching that. And that's what I've been showing you guys is this. Okay? It's interesting that she put pages 1 through 10 because this says 1 of 15. So I caught that as well. It's very interesting that she did. His report's 15 pages. 1 of 15. Ashley Jennings is over here saying that his page was 110 or 1 through 10. So she's missing 5 pages, or it's a typo. But it needs to be noted. Investigators were able to review those videos and determine the route of travel. I don't care about the route of travel. If you don't have that car going the fuck up out of Moscow, Idaho, and it just stops on the back of Walenta and it's just never seen again, then it's reasonable doubt because that vehicle stayed in Moscow, Idaho, because you have not proved to me that it left Moscow, Idaho. Okay. Also, you have not proved to me that it is that person's, the defendant's, right? Investigators provided video footage to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI. This is where Ashley Jennings thinks that this matters. To determine the year, make, and model of the suspect vehicle on the 1112 King Road surveillance. Payne at Affidavit 7. Forensic examiner Anthony Immel reviewed multiple videos and still images. According to Immel's report, the multiple submissions of media were reviewed independently and collectively. That's not true. Whatever was given on that day and in that section, that's how it was viewed when you want to talk about collectively. To identify the questioned vehicle's make, model, and year. FBI report of Special Agent Immel is attached here, States Exhibit 4. Of those videos, the 1125 Ridge Road video provided a clear view of the suspect vehicle. And this is what's going to happen in court. Okay. There is no report by Immel or Hill that say, and I typed it up for everybody. I'd voir dire these people. Agent Hill, are you afforded the opportunity to use any type of language you choose when authoring your reports, so long as that they are a true and accurate representation of your work? Yes. And that would hold true about your expert opinions. Is that right? Yes. So you get to choose your language. Okay, Agent Hill. Have you authored reports prior to this case where you use the term suspect vehicle? Yes, probably. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to say yes to that. Agent Hill, so are you familiar with the language and have you used the language before in my expert opinion in a report? Agent Hill, within your report drafted 2/6/2023 and finally entered in on 5/1/2023, in connection with this case, were you barred from using the language "in my expert opinion"? No. Okay, so can you go ahead and take a look at that report? And can you show me where you use the term what your expert opinion is on the fact that all of these vehicles are the same vehicle, number one? Can't find that. And that the make model is of your expert opinion of being this make and model, and that it's my client's car. Yep, sure don't have that either. Do you even use the word expert opinion in your report? Nope, sure don't. Okay. Is that what you were assigned to do, as give an expert opinion? Nope, I was reviewing the surveillance footage to see cars in the area, and I wrote down different timestamps that there were cars that matched in terms of similar. What was the language we used? A vehicle matching the description of vehicle one. Perfect. Matching the description. Right? And that description was a 2011 to 2016 that you went with, not 2014 to 16, correct? 2011, right? 2016, right? And you, though, did not provide that. Who determined that? Yeah, that was not me. So, Agent Hill, are you saying that you didn't find any videos on the WSU campus that matched the description of the 2011-2016 Elantra from 2 to 6 a.m. when you reviewed your clips? Are you aware that the PCA was co-authored, I guess, by all of you guys? And it was co-authored, and it says that investigators were given access footage to WSU and review of that video at approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13th. A white sedan, which was consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as vehicle 1, was observed on WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street and Northeast Stadium Way. So you didn't come across that, right? And you're the expert, and you went and got those videos over there at WSU campus, and then it was a live feed, and you had to clip them, and then whatever you could get, you then stored them over there at Moscow Police Department. And I'm guessing you took a bunch of notes doing this, right? Okay, but you were not able to find any vehicles other than the ones that you wrote down in your report drafted on 2/6/2022 and then turned it on 5/1/2023. These sightings were not there. Are you aware of that? There's no way they're going to be able to say that this was Brian's car. In fact, it highly looks like it's not. If you're the only person that went and got video and you're the one that clipped it and put it in Moscow Police Department's storage, and you couldn't find any video that pertained to 2 to 3 a.m. In fact, you couldn't find any video that pertained to 2 to 5 a.m. on WSU's campus that matched that vehicle description, right? Then how did they, whoever wrote this, how did they do that? I don't know. This was right here in front of our faces the whole time. This is insane. This is insanity. There's no vehicle there. There's no vehicle here during this time. None. None. According to Special Agent Hill. This is what Ashley Jennings is saying is going to happen. That the state's expert regarding vehicle identification, Anthony Immel, should be allowed to explain to the jury his opinion that the suspect vehicle on the 1112 King Road surveillance shares similar class characteristics to a fifth generation Hyundai Elantra between 2014 and 2015. I don't believe that that's what the opinion is, though. I don't think that he's going to be sharing that. Her argument says that, number one, the suspect vehicle was identified from surveillance footage from the area of the crime scene. The defendant claims that the suspect vehicle was not identified from surveillance footage in the area of 1122 King Road. This is simply not true. As stated in Immel's report, multiple submissions of media were reviewed independently and collectively. No, per Immel's report, multiple vehicles were reviewed based on here on this batch. This is what was reviewed independently, collectively, and based off of that batch that you handed me on that day. That's my opinion. But Agent Hill's report basically says that in us determining that this was even a suspect vehicle, we had to take in so many other factors that we were even interested in this vehicle in this time frame. The suspect vehicle was picked up on multiple occasions, at least 6 separate locations, all within 0.6 miles from the crime scene. But what she's forgetting to say is that if you want them to testify that they share the same class characteristics, all of those vehicles share characteristics. The only thing that's going to end up happening is, but they also share characteristics with these other 7 other options, right? It could be because there was a list of 1 to 7. Yes. And so the state is just choosing to talk about option 3 of the 7. But also those vehicles, one could be the option 7, and then the other one could be the option 3, and then that one could be the 2. So these can also be multiple vehicles. Are they the same? Are the vehicles, can you say that they are the same vehicle? And the answer to that is absolutely not. I can't say that. It's the same car. I can just tell you that they share the same class characteristics. And anywhere in there, did they give you the 420 and 42-second video? I made my determination off of a 401 Ridge Road video. Everything else was not, we could not make, like, nothing from 1112 King Road was useful per my report. The blooming headlights, yeah, couldn't, like, that's out. But I noticed you don't even talk about the 420, 42. I think we saw one thing, which would have been the third headlight from the back tail light portion, and it had a third panel. And so that's how we said that that could be one of 7 that have that. And how were you able to determine your expert opinion that the 406 car is the 420 and 42-second car? Now here's the bombshell. What was the DoorDash driver driving? Molly, come on down, Molly McMichael. I'm going to call you up on the phone, see how you're doing this Sunday. Molly McMichael, how are you? Why has it been such a secret? On what vehicle? Molly McMichael was driving. I think Molly's getting screwed in the deal. In the words of Hitler, well, just to show everybody that nobody's lying here. December 14th, 2022. Salt Lake City, baby, Travis Shirley. Written up March 21st, 2023. This is all confirmation bias. Date items received. November 19th, November 21st, November 23rd, December 7th, December 20th. Think about this, Riley. Ready? Hi, Jen. What's up, girl? Hope you're feeling good. Love you. I love it when blondes pop in with their avatars. Good to see you, Jen. Cheers, baby girl. This would be the day after Brian's name was then known. And my guess is that the WSU footage was got. Right? So this is how he divides this. On we'll start with the last one, or the first one rather. On 11/19, he was given 5 MP4 videos and 2 WMV videos depicting questioned vehicle. Received electronically on 11/19. It was examined, and I was able to break down what each one was, because voila! Can you imagine that? Somebody wrote a summary, and it says that the forensic audio, video, and image analysis program was requested to determine the make, model, and year of the questioned vehicle depicted in the submitted media. The submitted videos and images were electronically processed to identify the questioned vehicle's make, model, and year. 7, this is where I get that number from. 7 vehicle make, model charts were produced. 7. 1 of 7, which was the third one, which was the Elantra. That means there's 6 other possibilities. Okay. See the opinion section for the results of the examinations. Oh, okay. Opinions. We got some opinions. Right. Opinions. The submitted videos on November 19th, 2022 and November 21st, 2022 were reviewed to determine the questioned vehicle's make, model, and year. Just those dates, period, as you can see, period. So November 19th, November 21st. Due to insufficient image detail and obscured views produced by the blooming of the vehicle's headlights, the make, model, and year could not be determined. The blooming one is the balcony view of 1112. So you're going to have this guy get up on the stand, and he's going to say, "Yep, those are the pictures or those views, whichever ones they were the balcony one. We couldn't determine. We did not use that right there. Like we couldn't use those." Next, the submitted videos on November 23rd, they were reviewed to determine the questioned vehicle's make, model, and year, meaning from just that batch of November 2022. The questioned vehicle shares similar class characteristics with a 5th generation Hyundai Elantra between 2011 and 2013. This is what Hitler doesn't get. The similar class characteristics include, but not limited to, and it talks about the overall body shape, window, and goes on to talk about that. Now, this is from 1125 Ridge Road. On November 26th, 2022, after reviewing expanded known information. Well, what is this expanded known information? Well, this is when the cat was out the bag, right? And people supposedly it was put out to local law enforcement, hey, be on the lookout for a white Honda Elantra 2011, 2013. That was just locally, though. So, but on November 26, 2022, after reviewing expanded known information, to include the rear bumper reflector and the shape of the front fog lights on the Hyundai Elantra, the questioned vehicle's year was expanded to the 5th generation between 2011 to 2016. But it also included those other 6 vehicles. they just went and said, and talked like that. That was specific to just the third one out of the 7 that it could possibly be. The submitted video received on December 7th was reviewed to determine the question vehicle's make, model, and year based off of, when they say question vehicle, it's whatever you turned into them. Like, so whatever they received is what they call like the question vehicle for that. Due to insufficient image detail, the vehicle's make, model, and year could not be determined. And then the submitted video and images on December 20th, 2022 were reviewed to determine the question vehicle. The question vehicle shares similar class characteristics with a 5th generation Hyundai Elantra between 2014 and 2016. And that's going to be your 5:26 a.m. vehicle. On WSU's campus. Kay Smith, 5 Truth and Transparency gifted memberships. Cheers. The Energizer Bunny Lana. Still at it. You are greatly appreciated. Thank you, Mom B. I love your avatar there. Dana, what's good, girl? Membership. Woo. Jen, giving out 10 green aliens, Jen. Kay Schmidt and Jen, look at them. All right, all right. So the December 20th one had nothing to do with the had nothing to do with any camera footage over there in Idaho. Now, we just went through this entire report, and you show me where the words, my expert opinion is that everything I reviewed in totality all amounts to being Brian Kober's vehicle, or it's a white Honda Elantra. No, because that's not their expert opinion. Their expert opinion is that it could be one of 7 different makes and models, okay, in these certain years. And it all stems from the Ridge Road camera. It has nothing to do with 1112 blooming balcony. And so the reason that it's going to become so important is then when Agent Hill then is on the stand, it's to say, okay, everything generated from the Ridge Road camera in terms of being able to, we're able to even get, okay, this is the description and it's from this piece. How are you saying though that the Ridge Road vehicle is all those other sightings? Okay. Especially the most important one, which they're labeling is the 406 coming through and then leaving out at 420. And the only question that you need to ask that man is this. He's going to be able, he won't be able to answer it. Where is it? Where is all this crap? Okay, here it is. Who picked up the 1320 and 1330 Linda Lane videos? Who got those in law enforcement? Who went and obtained those? Was it you? No. Or he's going to say yes. One of the two. Are you aware that those two cameras are continuously running and they are not motion activated? Are you aware that you only use the 1320 dumpster video one time at 329? Right here. 329 and 48 seconds, 1320 Linda Lane. A vehicle matching the description of a vehicle is seen traveling westbound on Taylor Ave past Linda Lane, coming towards the house. So when you were making this, I don't know, path of travel, you didn't think it was at all ironic that when you were doing this, right, either you have it continuously running or you're missing a huge chunk because the Ridge Road video that's seen at 401 and the way that it's facing and traveling, it would have had to come from Taylor, would it not? At 401, it's coming, as you say right here, Ridge Road. You're saying that it came a video matching or a vehicle matching the description of vehicle one travels south, then east on Lauder, okay? A vehicle then matching the description turns from eastbound Lauder onto southbound Ridge Road, right? And so in order for that vehicle to do that, it would have had to come from Taylor, correct? Yet, and for it to be the vehicle that came from the house just right before that, you would be expecting to see the Linda Lane camera missing dumpster video to be able to catch it, to connect it from when it leaves out of the area of 1122 King Road after it gets off the 11112 camera. And then it would have made a right to go Taylor to be caught on right here in between this. It's not there, right? And that's a continuously running video. And it catches 87 vehicles, but it doesn't catch this vehicle. It's not motion activated. It just keeps continuously running. How do you explain that? And then the car that you're talking about right before it, you understand what time the DoorDash driver says that they dropped off the DoorDash? 3:59. Right here at 3:57 and 27 seconds, where the vehicle was located would be its headlights are briefly shining on the upper exterior of 1127 King Road, indicating a vehicle turning north to come down that hill back from behind the house on Clean Road. That's what that's indicating. The headlights disappear approximately for 5 seconds. Do you understand that it would not take a minute to get from coming down that hill on the side of the house to like turn then right in front of the house to then be on the camera that's 1112 and then making a right to get out of that area and then come to where Taylor is? That doesn't take a minute, does it? In fact, it takes like, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds, right? So this waiting a minute here or taking a minute, isn't that consistent with somebody getting out of that vehicle, going over to the house, putting food at the door, taking a picture if a picture was taken, then getting back into the vehicle and then driving away, which is then consistent with the 3:59 a.m. drop off of the DoorDash food by none other than Molly McMichael, who that's the vehicle then that you're saying is on camera. Leaving out of there to then be the 401 Ridge Road vehicle. But yet you don't have it on Taylor. In fact, you have the headlights are seeing going back actually around towards Walenta, right? And then a minute later, right? Minute later, you have the headlights are seen traveling back north. It was like it turned the vehicle just, you're trying to say just turned around at some point, or it would be a different vehicle, right? But the car that's coming back from the 359 trip is supposed to be the same vehicle that winds up being the Ridge Road vehicle. So we have to say that it turned around according to you guys. Yet it is not then seen. And this is why I'm saying between this point and this point, it would be seen on Linda Lane camera, the dumpster, and it's missing, right? But that video isn't missing, right? There's just no vehicle that's traveling on Taylor heading that way, right? Or if it is missing, isn't that convenient? And yet you want to then say that that vehicle is the Ridge Road vehicle. Absolutely absurd. What's up, Michelle F? Thank you so much for the gifted membership. Appreciate you. And just to be clear, sorry, Special Agent Hill, none of this is relevant if the time of the crime is at 3:15, at 3, at 3:20, at 6 a.m., at 5 a.m. No, 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 no. If you have Brian's DNA on a sheath, why does any of this matter? Think about it. Well, last time I checked, in order to what people like to hear is I like to hear, did they have the means, the opportunity to commit the crime? Okay. And so if you're a juror, is it really important that the prosecution show to you that Brian Kober had the means, the opportunity to get over there, to commit this crime? to do it during this time frame. Here's a vehicle that we're going to look like guys that it's not the same car. It's multiple vehicles. Then we're going to put our own undercovers at the crime scene. We're going to put a DoorDash driver who is heavily involved in drugs at the crime scene. All at the same time. Okay. And yeah. How about looking at other vehicles that Brian could have possibly been in that weren't his? Meaning, did Brian have access to other vehicles? What's up, Paisan? Hi. 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 Molly, good golly, Miss Molly. I don't even know what to think about Molly. I don't even know what to think about Molly. And Dago wants to know what car did his Asian little friend drive? I don't know. I'm just shocked that mainstream media hasn't dug up what vehicles Molly was driving. Was she driving like a Subaru? Was she driving what? I think it's great when they're doing their tracking. Hey, look for vehicles that look like his car. Look for people that look like him. What about people that are dressed in all black? How about that? None of that. No people that look like him. Um, woo! I don't know. I don't know what to think. Who has to explain the sheath though? This is why I think the car is so important. Is because the burden lies on the state to show um how and why that sheath is there because it fell off of the clothing of Brian Kober. One of the knives that he went in there with was a K-bar, right? He bought it. He bought it 8 months ago, 10 months ago. He moved across the country to come here to kill and get a PhD. What? Brian Kober moved across country to kill and get a PhD because he loved Ted Bundy. Well, I don't know why anybody would have to lie in a PCA. I don't understand. I'm still trying to scratch my head here. Why anybody have to lie in a PCA? This is a lie. This is what the what's her name? This is what Meghan Markle needed in order to sign. This is a lie. Holy shit. You want to know why it's a lie? Because Hill comes through and says it's a lie. Like, these people are nuts. I'm going to rat them all out. Where's that other one? According to Hippler, he sees the facts as the following. Following the homicide, law enforcement gathered video surveillances from various locations surrounding the crime scene, including 112 Key. The same footage showed what law enforcement believed to be the same vehicle make 3 initial passes. He just adds that in, what they believe to be the same vehicle. I mean, I guess same characteristic, whatever, but he's just saying it. Those are facts. Surveillance videos from 5 other locations within a 0.6 miles of the crime scene were also captured. What law enforcement believed to be the suspect vehicle 1 in the hour preceding the crime. Based on the direction of travel and timestamps from these videos, investigators mapped what they believe to be suspect vehicle 1's route of travel. Ooh. Okay. One of the surveillance videos relied upon by law enforcement was from a camera located at 1125 Ridge Road. Video footage captured at 4:01 a.m. Well, there is no continuous footage showing the vehicle identified in the Ridge Road footage traveling to the crime scene. The Ridge Road camera was located 0.3 miles down the road from the crime scene. From this collective evidence, investigators believed the vehicle seen on the Ridge Road footage at 4:01 a.m. was suspect vehicle 1 captured on the 1112 King Road footage at 4:04. Well, then why wouldn't it just start there? Why the fuck wouldn't it just start there? Why does any of the other shit before that matter? Because they need to say that every time a car is going back there, and then it could possibly be that car, it has to be that car. Well, why? Think about it, guys. Why? Well, because that puts other people going back there and they could actually be the killer. Right? So we need to make it that it's every time it's this car and this car only that's going back there. Okay. I see. Okay. Even though there's no proof of that. Based on the lack of continuous footage showing the vehicles captured in the various surveillance video traveling to the crime scene at 4:04 a.m., defendant argues it would be improper for the state to identify those vehicles as suspect vehicle 1 or otherwise identify suspect vehicle 1 as a 2014-2016 Hyundai Elantra. Yeah. He argues any such testimony is speculative. It is. And therefore not relevant. It's unfairly prejudicial and invades the province of the jury. The state responds that the testimony is based on logical, educated inferences drawn by law enforcement from the surveillance videos. Well, you want to know what's logical for me? Is how the fuck are you okay with I use this video at 3:30 and now all of a sudden I don't have the dumpster fire video where I can connect everybody? I don't have that anymore. When I say everybody, that the last nut I need is that this vehicle is traveling on Taylor. Where's the Linda Lane dumpster video so I can go ahead and find it right there at 4:01? It's either missing. What do you mean it's missing? It was a continuous rolling film. Like, what do you mean? Can I have that video, please? Yeah, you can, but it doesn't have it. There's no car at that time. What? There's no car at that time? Oops. What? How does this video just poof disappear? It doesn't. It doesn't just poof disappear. But the jury's going to hear about that. The jury is going to be like, wait, what? You had it at 3:30 to show the car coming at 3:30, and now it's just not there. You just don't have it. That's what would be logical to me. You want to talk about logic, educated. It adds that the testimony does not invade the province of the jury and is highly relevant to determine whether the vehicle captured at 4:04 a.m. on the 1112 King Road camera was defendant's vehicle. What do you mean defendant's vehicle? This is going to be able to be destroyed during cross-examination. Because you can't say that it's the defendant's vehicle. In fact, I hope that they use the color test. I hope that they ask, what color are those oranges? Or what are those, apples? No, what are they? Pumpkins? Okay. What color are they? Here's a picture of them. They're orange, right? In that video, what color are they? They're white. Oh, so orange pumpkins look white. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that car right there. What color is it? How do we know that it's actually a light vehicle if orange pumpkins are white? If Van Taylor doesn't say that, fuck, shit. Happy Sunday, baby. I want to borrow everything. To the extent defendant is attempting to prohibit the state from arguing or asserting as fact that the vehicles are the same, or that suspect vehicle 1 is a 2014-2016 Hyundai Elantra, he is correct that it would be speculative and improper without expert testimony to provide a basis to make this connection. Okay, who the fuck is going to testify to that? He's right. She's like, or Hippler's like, the defendant is right, but if you get it in through an expert, well, thank God that this ruling came after the expert reports were due, right? I mean, Jesus. So get it in through an expert. Well, what expert? What expert's coming up here to testify this shit? Poor Molly's gonna get up there and cry her fucking tits off, man. I mean, Molly's gonna be spilling her guts. If she wasn't, I don't believe that she was gonna be a state witness, but she's now gonna be a defendant witness. To the extent the defendant is attempting to prohibit the state arguing or says, it's actually, he is correct. That would be speculative and improper without expert testimony to provide a basis to make this connection. However, this prescription does not prevent the state from eliciting such opinions from law enforcement and asserting these as an allegation during the trial based on the testimony. So they're going to testify to the allegation. We are alleging. Wait. What? Yeah. What's up? Ms. Harris turning 10 people. Woo! Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Gotta give a shout out to a couple people hit me in Cash App, and I wanted to let you know that I appreciate you. Brandy, thank you so much. $35 this afternoon. Thank you, Paul. Great work you did on the BCK. Lindsay, free Karen Reed, hashtag not guilty, $25. Thank you. Boom. I'm just gonna call Molly right now and ask her if what's up. What does she want to talk about? I heard my boy CV did a nice blow up of the audio. Is that right? So here, law enforcement's opinion that the vehicle captured on the Ridge Road camera at 4:01 a.m. is suspect vehicle 1, captured at 4:04 a.m. on the 112 King Road footage, is not based on unsupported theories. It is. It's a conspiracy theory. Is exactly what the fuck it is. Because guess what? Where's the Linda Lane footage that Kane gave you? And in the beginning, it said that it caught the vehicle at 2:45 to 3:15. Give a shout out to Miss Potts there. She wanted me to sneak that in. Does anybody else missing the bigger picture here? Which is, I don't care what vehicle they think is at any of these times until the 4:20 and 42-second one. That's the vehicle that's speeding away. This is not a psyops. Anybody that's saying that, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, but I just totally disagree. Psyops. People are dead, man. Come on. Have some fucking respect, man. Jeez. Somebody said that about my son. Psyop, break. That's just ridiculous. You guys, the only car that matters is the car that's speeding away at 4:20 and 42 seconds. So where's any substance of video footage after 4:20 and 42 seconds that you followed that car somewhere? Where is that? Where is that? Where is it? There is no footage of that car that's speeding away after 4:20 and 42 seconds. That's the car. I want to know how you have an opinion that the 406 and 15-second vehicle is the 4:20 and 42-second vehicle. How? That car, you can't, it's speeding away. You can't tell if it's a fucking Pinto. You can't tell shit about that car. But them creating this illusion that is Brian's car. So how do you convict Brian Kober if you cannot prove beyond a reasonable doubt that that's his vehicle and that that's how he had the means to get over there to then kill in that short of time, and then get in the vehicle that they're saying he took his own personal vehicle, and then when they got their hands on that personal vehicle, that they destroyed it, went all through it, and could not find one single piece of evidence, of trace evidence in that vehicle. How can you prove that beyond a reasonable doubt that Brian Koberger, that's his vehicle, And if you can't prove that beyond a reasonable doubt, how does the rest stand? Because I'd be expecting there to be something in that car. Well, because the sheath's there. You know, that's going to remind me of? That's going to remind me of the Delphi case. In the Delphi case, to me, it was, junk science with the bullet, right? And that bullet came from Richard's gun. Okay, Richard Allen's gun. And the jurors, that was the only piece of physical evidence. Okay. And so the jurors weren't satisfied that it proved that it wasn't transferred, or if it were like for terms of like DNA, you talk about that. Was it secondary? Was it this? Was it that? But Richard Allen owned a gun. They're saying that's the gun, that's the bullet, it came from this, blah, blah, blah. And the jury said, fuck, throw it out. Like they did not think that it was. Okay. And the jury convicted Richard Allen mainly on the confessions. Okay. Here you don't have that. Here you don't have that. You have a huge sloppy investigation, just like Karen Reed's case, just like Richard Allen's case with the Idaho4 case. It's going to be a slop fest as well. You have blood in a house that was never even considered. It does not match the guy that you have arrested. No connection to the victims. So for me, I look at that jury in Delphi, and if they never heard or saw any of those confessions, which they should have never seen because he was held, those confessions were not made voluntarily, nothing like that. That was bullshit. But if you take that out of the equation, those jurors never see or hear those confessions, right? Does the jury convict Richard Allen? And the answer is 1,000% no. Go ask the jurors. Would they convict Richard Allen if they didn't hear those confessions after he had been, in my opinion, tortured? So it's going to be interesting because this case has surveillance during a large expanded time, but their only thing that's pertinent is to just focus in on this small window due to the roommates, right? But there's video all over the place that they could have went out and got to, hey, we need to find out where that car went so we can see a good pic of it after 4:20 and 42 seconds, and they don't have it. They don't have it. That's the one that you need. Who cares about what vehicle parked its car at 4:06 a.m. over there? We need to see what vehicle it was that sped away at 4:20 and 42 seconds. Because just like Hitler says here, they're over here trying to say that the 401 car is the 404. Awesome, great, check. But where in it are you saying that the 420 and 42 second car is either one of those? The car that's important is the 420 and 42 second car that sped away. And making sure to seeing, okay, where's a pic of that? And you're going to sit here and tell me that they were unable to, they would have had that day one because they had this stuff day one. They had what the girls were saying. They had their text messages. Here, you want to hear what happened at 4? You want to hear what happened? Like, this is what she calls me. Then we start texting. Okay. So then you would have looked at the 1112. So you would have immediately saw the car that's speeding away at 4:20 and 42 seconds. And you're unable to place this car leaving Moscow after that point. And so all that you have to do, and it's like it shows itself because the defense doesn't have to do anything. It's going to say, wouldn't that have been your number one priority, is to track down by getting clips all around that area and beginning at this time point after, not before. You would be immediately looking to track this car and its movements afterwards, like 4:20 and 42 seconds, like after. Especially if you thought it was somebody that lived in that area and that lived over there, and if they were connected to the victims. Because the car that actually is the car that drove out of here at this time, it could have been a car that had been sitting there for like 2 weeks, a week, a month. How do you know that this car leaving is the same car at 4:06 if we're going off of that video that we've all saw on Dateline? And so isn't it really troubling that there is no sightings after 4:20 and 42 seconds? How is that possible? But yet you have, prior to that, you claim that all of those sightings, that it's just driving all over, it's all the same vehicle, but somehow after it leaves at 4:20 and 42 seconds, it just disappears. It just poof disappears. All right, I want to hear you guys' opinion on this. What is the jury instructions as far as how Brian Kober's name was tossed in the mix of things? Why does there need to be a jury instruction if you think about it? And if it's just a generic, we got a tip. I would like to know. What do we got? What do we got? Let's talk about it. What do we think? They had to agree on the fake story per judge's order. There's jury instructions coming. All right, this is part of voir dire. This is under the ICR 24 trial rules for the trial jurors. Opening statements to the entire jury panel will take place first. Okay, so that's what you can expect right there. Oh, by the way, Sheldon Jeter Jr. has a status conference on July 11th, 2025, and he has his evidentiary hearing July 25th, 2025. So next month. Great news. What are my notes here? So, voir dire examination of the prospective jurors drawn from the jury panel must first be conducted by the court, the prosecuting attorney, and then the attorneys for each defendant must be permitted to ask about the qualifications of members of the panel to sit as jurors in the action. The voir dire examination is under the supervision of the court and subject to such limitations as the court may order. The court must disallow any question asked by an attorney that is not directly relevant to the qualifications of the juror or is not reasonably calculated to discover the possibility or possible existence of a ground for challenge or has been previously answered, unless otherwise stipulated to in the record by all parties to the action. The entire voir dire examination of all prospective jurors and the court's ruling on all challenges must be reported verbatim. Each defendant, yes, there's not multiple in this case. This is just, they use each defendant because some cases have multiple defendants, so each lawyer has their own opportunity. Challenges for cause. Challenges for cause may be made by an attorney at any time while questioning a prospective juror. At the conclusion, so anytime, bitch, you gone. I want this person that said they watch Dateline every day on repeat, Your Honor. I want them off. I don't have time to waste my questions, so gone. This is for Idaho. At the conclusion of all questions to an individual prospective juror or to the panel as a whole, or at a later time as permitted by the courts. We're just checking out how we can kick people off the jury here. In Idaho, challenges for cause as provided by law must be tried by the court. The challenged juror and any other person may be examined as a witness on the trial of the challenge. So whenever a juror is excused by the court in sustaining a challenge for cause, the clerk must immediately draw another name from the jury panel to fill the vacancy. There is no limit on the number of challenges that may be made for cause by any party. And it is not necessary for any co-parties to join in making a challenge for cause. Peremptory challenges. If the offense charge is punishable by death or life imprisonment, each party, regardless of the number of defendants, is entitled to 10 preemptory challenges. In all other felony cases, each party, regardless of the number of defendants, is entitled to 6. Again, this is Idaho rules. 10, bitch. Give me 10. That means for any reason. So regardless of the number of defendants, so all misdemeanors, you get 4. If there are co-defendants and the court determines that there is a conflict of interest between or among them, or there are alternate jurors, the court may allow any or all of the parties additional preemptory challenges and permit them to be exercised separately or jointly. Any party who waives a preemptory challenge will be deemed to have waived only that particular preemptory challenge and may exercise any of that party's remaining challenges as to any juror. So if all parties consecutively waive their preemptory challenge, the trial jury will be deemed accepted by the parties and any remaining preemptory challenges are waived. So if they're doing it like you have a panel of 12 up there, and let's say that, okay, 4 removed for cause, so you have 8 left, and then you're asking them questions, and it's like, dude, fuck no, I cannot have bitch over there, number 11, man. She is trifling. You're trying to get the judge to agree that this person has just, that they have cause before you have to go to your challenges like that. But each side gets 10 according to ICR 24. Additional jurors. I don't know how many they're going to be rolling with now. He said he's going to see how it pans out, but selection, the court may direct that one or more jurors, in addition to the regular panel, be called. They're going to go with more than just one or two. I see 4, but maybe they'll do 6. Who knows? It's supposed to be 3 months. All jurors must be drawn in the same manner, have the same qualifications, be subject to the same examination and challenges, take the same oath, and have the same functions, powers, facilities, and privileges prior to deliberations. I was reading to see if yeah. I believe in Idaho you can you're able to see the actual questionnaires. Only the answers to the questionnaires are sealed, but I believe that the questions are not. So, I'm curious about that. I'm looking into it now. So, Molly, where you at, girl? Molly, where you at? So, Special Agent Hill blows up Jennings, blows up the PCA, take it to the bank. Hill says, F you, MPD. I ain't going down like that. Facts. 2 to 6 a.m. No. These sightings are noted above. No other sightings of vehicles matching this description were observed. Holy shit. Jennings has so many problems. Maybe that's why she was not in attendance. Let's call my girl Molly. We've got to call Molly. Good golly, Miss Molly. Tonight I'm dropping the link for those of you guys that want to join. Let's see if Molly answers. You guys don't think I'm calling Molly? I'm fucking calling Molly. Here we go. Wendy says, I will die if she answers. I just want to ask her if we can DoorDash or something, man. Hey, we saw you, man. We want to get you like dinner tonight. I'll buy her a steak dinner. I think people need to leave her alone. I want shirts that say, don't bother my Molly. Sure, yeah, I'm interested in that. But I think what's even more interesting is that um, there's a mixture of blood on the sheath. And so if the mixture is not of Maddie and Kaylee, then, and I think that's what the additional testing's for. I truly do. We'll see. Um, where's my bag of dicks? I can't. Okay. Molly is a DoorDash driver. We're just sending her a steak. I think maybe Molly's confused that she's a witness. What do you think Ann Taylor did when she saw that video? You think Ann Taylor was like, "What the fuck?" Or do you think she was like, "Oh, I've known this existed"? What do you think? Yeah, Sherry says guilty or innocent. They fabricated the vehicle video to fit their timeline because they know the type of DNA evidence they have isn't the strongest. Yeah, I mean they lied in a probable cause. Really, really bad. Just woo. All right, here we go. Molly, what is going on, girl? You don't have a number that works right now, girl? Come on, girl. She probably had to get rid of her number. I just want to ask her if Molly was interviewed for the date for the James Patterson book. Why isn't Molly getting any book deals? Give her a book deal on my show. I want to hear about her husband about 10 some years ago.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Hello. This message is for Molly McMichael. What's up, girl? This is Lana with Truth and Transparency podcast. Wanted to ask you if you were the DoorDasher. Also wanted to send you a steak dinner. Also wanted to tell you that fuck all the haters. Don't watch the internet. It rots our brain. You got this, girl. Stay strong. You can call me on my cell phone at All right, so we'll see if my call has been forwarded. Sorry, as much as I want to hear from all you great people. Molly! We're going to be looking over the body cam tonight. I've watched it a couple different ways, but I want to talk about the whispers. So we're going to talk about the whispers in the car. So I'm going to Talk about those whispers. Give a shout out to all the mods. Thank you guys so much. You guys rock. There's my hat for you guys. Woo. Are you coming out again tonight? I told you, yeah, all day. I'll be back at 10. 4. I did today at 12, 4, and 10. Nothing but Idaho. Tonight we're going to go over the body cam of Molly and the DoorDash stuff. Yeah. That's what's up. Thank you guys so much. We do appreciate you and your love for the channel. We do. Moderators, you rock.
What are you thinking, bro? What? See.